Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what to commentate. We are just on the struggle bus, plain and simple. Now let's go toss some plastic. And we've made it to hole 1 of Orchard Hill Disc Golf Course for our first stop in Greenville, South Carolina. We're starting off with a nice and simple, it's actually kind of tricky, 290-foot giant hyzer shot. The basket is actually tucked behind that building. I think to absolutely lace this hole, you want to hit the gap in between the building and that tree. But it's too early to try to go for all that, so we're just going to take our Halo Boss and go for a big skip shot. Hopefully leave ourselves a putt. I'm really excited to get this round started. Skip up there. Big skip, that's exactly what we were looking for. Unfortunately, we still went way too deep, even though the skip looked really nice and perfect. We've left ourselves a really long first putt of the round, probably about 42 feet for the 2. Oh gosh, that looked like the first putt of the day if I've ever seen one. For the par. Hole 2, 343 feet. It is quite a bit uphill, and we do have a low ceiling that we're contending with. It is a pretty standard hyzer shot though, so we are gonna go with our Firebird, hopefully get a little skip to help us out. We did clip a little branch there. We do have a putt though. That branch did not slow us down too much. We have left ourselves another long putt, probably about 35 feet. Not the start to the round that we were looking for, but hopefully we can knock this one down. Oh boy. All right, we'll start with a couple of pars. For the 3. Hole 3, we do have a pinched off camera angle. We have 319 feet. The basket is dead straight. This is a pretty tricky hole. It does go slightly up in elevation. You can go with a big sidearm or a big turnover out over this brush. We are gonna full send our Valkyrie on a big turnover. Luckily, the Valkyrie got a good skip off the road. That's the only thing that made this shot somewhat decent. We have left ourselves a 56-footer uphill for the 2. Oh, just always a little deep. Always a little deep, still a good run. One thing that I do want to bring up, today's video is pretty rushed. If you remember in one of my previous vlogs, we got hit with a pretty dangerous flooding situation. Today, the second wave of that storm is hitting. It's supposed to be pretty nasty, so we're trying to film this round before it hits, and I'm already noticing by hole 3, I'm not taking the time I need on the tee pads, not making good shots, so we are going to kind of slow down, focus up, and get a good round going. Hole 4, this is a pretty cool one, 225 feet. You can go with a sidearm or a slight ante the entire way. We are throwing over the road. I'm gonna go with a nice little sidearm shot with our scepter, hopefully get a big skip and maybe get our first sidearm ace on the channel. Well, ever, I've never had one. Just go in. Oh, really nice run. My goodness. For the 2. Hole 5, 252 feet. This is a pretty tricky line. You want a slight ante the whole way, but you do want a left finish at the end. I think if you finish dead straight, you should be just fine though. We are gonna go with our Envy. It's not a good shot. We really need to slow down. I feel way too amped up right now. Definitely not the best drive. We didn't have the right line or the right distance for that matter. We've left ourselves another really long one, probably about 70 feet for the 2. Not a great run. For the 3. Hole 6, it's really time to wake the arm up now. We have 452 feet, dead straight, slightly downhill, and I think I'm gonna try this Blizzard DD2 C-line made by Innova. I've never really even thrown Blizzard plastic, so I have no idea how this is gonna fly. I'm guessing it's gonna be pretty understable, so we're gonna throw it on a sharp hyzer. Oh my gosh. That was the flippiest thing I've ever thrown. That thing immediately cut rolled and just went a mile to the right. Here's where we ended up. It rolled a mile to the right, just like we thought. We're still 260 feet from the pin. We are gonna full send our Envy, hopefully walk away with a 3. Envy did a good job of trying to save this 3 for us. All we have to do is knock down this putt, probably about 30 feet for the 3. For the first time ever on Tossing Plastic, I had some friends come and visit me, and I want you guys to meet them and check them out. So here they are. These are my best friends, really the only friends I have. Hole 7, 372 feet, dead straight. The basket is tucked by that tree and that power supply up there. I think this whole sneaky goes uphill the entire way. We are gonna full send our Champion Firestorm. Oh, it's so slippery. All right, it's quite a bit short. We are struggling a little bit here, leaving us another long and tricky putt, probably about 62 feet. We have to hyzer it around the tree. Oh, today is definitely one massive par fest. Hole 8, 336 feet, dead straight, but this is way uphill. The entire way it plays much, much longer. The basket's actually hanging from that tree up there. Very cool pin location. We are gonna full send our Corvette. All right. I was so far into my head this morning and I just can't even work my way out of it. That was just not a good throw. We didn't get any turn, way short, hyzered out. We're still 98 feet away from the pin and it is slightly uphill, so I think we are out of putting range. So we are gonna switch to our Pro Rhino, hopefully give it a little run and get a spark on our round. No run, but again, an easy par. We'll take it. We'll take it. For the 3. Hole 9, this is the kind of hole that we need today. 162 feet, dead straight. There's a handful of guardian trees up there and you don't want to go past the basket. Hopefully we can give this one a nice little ace run with our Pro Rhino. Oh. No ace run, but it should be a short putt for a much needed 2. Hole 9 break, and in light of how our round is currently going, I want to ask you guys a simple question and I want to hear those answers in the comments below. But what is the worst round you've ever played? Now this is obviously not the worst round I've ever played, but it did kind of get my mind going on the topic, and I have 2 situations that I'll tell you guys about. I do think the worst round I ever played was maybe last year, I'm not sure, but me and my buddy Brian were playing our local course, McGrath, and McGrath can be a tricky course. It does have a lot of longer par threes. It can be difficult to shoot a very low score. I think my PR there is neg 11 or neg 12, but on this certain day, I think we were on like hole 7 or 8, which is the hardest hole on the course, and I think I was already at like plus 12. I don't know what was going on. It was just one of those days that if there was a tree for me to hit, it was there and I was hitting it. The second story was quite a funny one. It was not involving me, but I did play one of my local tournaments. I think this was a year or two ago, called Harvest Moon. And there is this section called the Deep 12, which has some very, very difficult holes, and these were included in the tournament. Now, unfortunately, we did pull the short straw, so we started right in the middle of the Deep 12, bright and early, not really warmed up, and one guy in my card on the first hole took a 12. Needless to say, he was no longer even engaged in the tournament. It was a 2-round event. He left after round 1, and I don't blame him, but that was probably the worst disc golf situation I've ever seen, especially in a tournament situation. So if you guys have any funny stories about your struggles, especially in tournaments, because I think now that you've gotten past that, you can just kind of reflect and laugh on it, but let me know and leave them in the comments below. Hole 10, 282 feet. We are throwing blind. We have to get up and over the crest of this hill. We have that very cool archway up there, and it looks like a great view in the background. We are going to go with our hex. That's not good, I don't think. Well, I'd love to say that I tried to land here on purpose to have the most jaw-dropping background of all time, but unfortunately it was just a bad shot, but we will take it. This is stunning. It's hard to be frustrated with a view like this. We still have probably 72 feet downhill, and because of the tricky lie, we're gonna have to go with a lean out flick sidearm shot. All right, we didn't go down the hill. That's all we were worried about. For the par, you know, I've been thinking lately about switching putters to those like Pro Line Rhinos, and maybe you'll just spend the rest of the day trying this old Pro Rhino. It's not the plastic you'd want for a putter, but the hammers have just been feeling really weird for quite a while. Hole 10, 192 feet. The basket is tucked in between those group of trees up there. Very standard hyzer shot, definitely one that we need to take advantage of. We are gonna go with our champion Rhino. Get up there. Oh my gosh. All right, another tester putt for the much needed 2. Hole 12, another very tricky one, 434 feet, dead straight. We do have this Mando in front of us, but it is way downhill with a pretty low ceiling. We are just gonna go with a soft T-bird toss. If we get a slight flip, it should work out perfect. If we don't flip, we'll probably hyzer out way early. Oh, I overturned it. We're still 179 feet from the basket. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what to commentate. We are just on the struggle bus, plain and simple. We are gonna go with our Kia, try to hit that big log that's laying down up there to catch the disc, and it should leave us a pretty decent putt. Oh, I think we just caught something weird and rolled down the hill. We came in a little deep and clipped some of these roots sticking up from this big tree. Not as bad as it could have been for sure. We could have rolled all the way down to the marsh. We have left ourselves probably 28 feet for the 3. Oh my goodness. For the 4. You can really tell a big storm's about to roll in. The temperature is just dropping and dropping and dropping rather quickly, and the wind is really starting to pick up. It's just getting very gloomy out. Hopefully we can finish this round because I think the storm is going to be pretty intense. Hole 13 or 14, I'm not sure. We have one of the most unique holes I've ever seen. 292 feet. It's located underneath that giant power line tower up there. The wind is really starting to swirl. We're gonna go with our hex, put it on a big turnover. Hopefully it hyzers back and we have a putt. That's not gonna hyzer back at all. Wind's getting pretty crazy. You know, I was thinking with the headwind that we should have dissed up to the Kotuku. I think that would have been a much smarter decision, but instead we've left ourselves another super long, probably 50-footer into the headwind for the 2. Oh, man, I would have loved to just hit a long putt. Dang it. Hole 14, 246 feet, very rough tee pad situation here. The basket is dead straight. We have a handful of trees up there to contend with, but this is gonna be the turning point. I can just feel it. We are gonna go with the Kia, and we might just ace it. That's not even close to an ace. Well, we'll keep trying. Well, after our near ace, we have left ourselves probably 45 feet for the 2 uphill. Nope, not even close. For the 3. Hole 15, 252 feet. You want to go dead straight with a left finish. Very tricky, kind of a tunnel shot situation. We are going to go with our hex. Oh my goodness. Oh, we almost got around that tree. Gonna be another scramble. Well, we have left ourselves a nice and simple 97-foot putt. Not a big deal. Hopefully we can knock this long one down. That would really be a nice change of pace for the video. We are gonna full send our hammer. I don't think I'll be able to putt the Rhino that far. Dang, I'm even going long on those. I don't know. I'm just sending every putt possible long. Crazy. We have left ourselves a tester, probably 21 feet for the 3. Thank you. That actually looked like a putt. Hole 16, 440 feet. This is a very tricky one. It is slightly uphill the entire way. We have a bunch of brush if you hyzer out early. We have a row of trees right in the middle and a road off to the right. I'm just gonna take the boss, put it on a little bit of an ante. We are not pushing for a lot of distance. We're just trying to play safe on this one. All right, that was actually probably our best throw of the day. Well, unfortunately, even with the best drive of the day, we did land right behind the tree. Some days just really be like that. We probably have 70 feet to the pin. This would be an amazing 2 to get. I'm gonna go with a nice little turnover flick shot with our hex. The ceiling was never gonna allow for it, so we played it safe. We could use a birdie, I'll tell you that much. It's always really nice when at some point during your round you remember how to play disc golf. Unfortunately, guys, we are going to have to stop the video here. As you can see, they have a lot of heavy equipment working up there, which happens to be right in between hole 17 and 18. The audio would be terrible. I don't want to get in the way of their job. They're patching some stuff. I'm not sure. Normally, I would wait this out, but with the weather we have coming in, it's just not a possibility today. So sorry for that, but we ended on a good note. And that wraps up today's video at Orchard Hill Disc Golf Course in Greenville, South Carolina. And guys, obviously Orchard Hill is a budget course. And what I mean by a budget course is obviously Orchard Hill was probably built as cheap as possible. But guys, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. The guy in charge of the property is a very awesome individual. He just wanted to supply a disc golf course. He did the best he could with the amount of money he had, and you know what? It was very enjoyable. I think moving forward, they will continue to improve Orchard Hill, but most importantly is the layout is actually very good, which is surprising. Some kind of budget courses are very boring, overall not very enjoyable, but each hole at Orchard Hill felt extremely different, and there was a lot of creative aspects into it, such as elevation, different shot shapes you needed. I was honestly very impressed. As you guys could tell, the tee pads were not very good. The tee signs were missing. The signage from hole to hole was not great. It was all right though. It was implemented in some spots. Normally that's just the kind of stuff that really drags the rating down. But like I said, with private courses, I just think they need to be approached a little differently depending on what their goals are. See private courses coming in and they're shooting for a top tier course and they're going to get reviewed like a top tier course. But as far as a budget course goes, I believe that if you have decent baskets, you have a good layout and people can just come have a good time, you've absolutely succeeded. Another important thing to remember about Orchard Hill is it is private, it was built with their money, and they do not request or require any money to play it. As you guys saw, I struggled a lot at Orchard Hill. I'm not entirely sure why, but I did. It's not some super hard course, and that's the beauty of it. It can be enjoyed by anyone who wants to come and play the game, but there are a few holes that will test even the best disc golfers. And like always, guys, with the private courses, the rating only reflects how the course is currently sitting. I'm sure that they plan to keep reinvesting in it. Even the addition of just some tee pads and tee signs would absolutely boost this course at a much higher rating. But as it currently sits, I will just give it a solid 7 out of 10. I think the layout is what really kind of saved this course. I was definitely surprised by it. There's a good atmosphere there, a pretty decent ease of play. Overall, it's an enjoyable course. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Now it's your turn to go toss some plastic.